Hi, good evening. Steve Adler. You got a minute? We're going to go through the virus numbers that are still looking good. We're going to talk about two new websites that I want you to know it exists in case you want to find them later to take a look at them. We'll talk briefly about the UT football game, and we'll talk about some things that are going to be happening next week with the City Council. Let's begin with the numbers. Always looking at hospitalizations first. New admissions are 18. You can see the graph on the right. That's kind of been level here for a while. 7-day moving average within one of that. The positivity rate at 4.6. That number changes weekly, earlier in the week. So that's been the same all week. It'll change on Tuesday of next week. Number of new cases today, 101. We're going to see some variation in new cases. We got another one of those data dumps from the city, and that means that we're getting tests going way back. And anyhow, another data dump from the city, so those from the state. So those are not going to be as reliable as we would like. But let's go to the next chart. This is the next dashboard, also on the city's website. It's the one that talks to us about how many hospitalizations we have. Today we have 97, still under 100. Remember, the last time we were in under 100, it was the beginning of the second week in June. 113 is the 7-day rolling average, so that number is still below that average. ICUs, you can see 34 in those. 40 is the 7-day running average. And ventilator, 7-day running average is 26, and we only have 23 in there tonight. So those continue to move in the right direction. 402 people have passed away. That's the same number that we had yesterday. 27,525 cases altogether. That includes the 101 that we spoke about today. Let's take a look at the University of Texas, Dr. Meyer's chart that really takes a look at hospitalizations, tells us what our R factor is, and tells us what the trend is. That was just updated. You can see the R factor number in the upper left-hand corner, 0.78. As long as that's below 1, that means the virus is going down. If it's over 1, it's going up. At 0.78, it's going down. You can see the chart down below. Each of those green dots is an actual number. The straight line is the 7-day running average. And off to the right, all the gray lines and all the lines are all equally likely scenarios as we move forward. But the green line is kind of the mean or the average, and it's pointed downward, as you would expect, kind of flat, but downward just a little bit. This is what we need to protect. We need to stay here. We need to continue going down, even as we're opening up schools, even as more people are going to restaurants and eating outside. We have to maintain the masking that we have. There's another website, new website I want you to see. This is also from the University of Texas. This is one that looks at viruses and what's happening on the University of Texas. The first two charts on this website I want you to see just are the Travis County numbers, total number of new cases per day, and the hospitalizations and the 7-day moving average. This is another version of the chart that we just saw with the green dots. On the UT site here, talking about the university, they have the data for the county, but they also have it just on the campus so that you can compare. And there you can see the numbers for University of Texas. It's faculty and students. You can see what the total number of cases per day is. You can see there was that spike that we got several days ago, the end of last week, that was of concern to us. Those numbers have come down. Numbers similar to what we were seeing back in June. Hopefully those numbers will come down as students get more into the flow of what it is that we're trying to do here in the city to keep the numbers down, showing the determination and the discipline that the rest of the community is showing. You can see the chart on the right. Those are numbers that talk about testing. It'll show you the number of tests that the university is giving to students and to faculty. They're giving up to 5,000 tests a week is what they have the capacity for. More greater testing capacity than students and faculty that are taking it quite yet. But with that number of tests out there, hopefully if there is any kind of infectivity issue, we'll all be able to see it and isolate and treat it and keep everybody healthy. But I just wanted you to see that these numbers are being kept and these web pages are up and available. As we look at the University of Texas, we have the football game that's coming up tomorrow. I just want to urge everybody that's considering going to the game to be safe. The university is having the students come in their own entrance. They're going to be kind of contained in the student section, not mixing. That's an appropriate thing to do. And students had to show a negative test before they were allowed to get pick up their ticket for the game, and we appreciate the university doing that. People are going to be spread out, I understand, in the stands. That's good to hear. Please don't queue up close to people. Don't line up close to people getting into the stadium or leaving the stadium, or at a stand where you're getting food in the stadium or whatever in the stadium. And be careful. You know, if you're in an environment where people are yelling, that also presents greater risk for a virus being spread. So just be careful. The university's not letting folks do tailgating, and we appreciate that. We're going to be watching it, monitoring this, and hopefully it can be done safely. And if not, hopefully we'll be able to identify it so that we can figure out what it is that would then have to happen next. But those are the numbers. That's what's happening tomorrow. I want to talk a little bit about what's happening at the City Council. This week at the Housing and Planning Committee of the city, we looked at a new dashboard. You can see this dashboard. Save that screen just the way it is, Janine. That's great. You can see this is a website that shows you where all of the affordable housing is in the city. You can see the tabs at the right. It says what's newly being built, what's being developed, lots of different kinds of categories. They all roll up to show you where the 26,000, 27,000 affordable units are in the city. What I think is special to note about this are the graphs off to the right. What this shows us is that 58% of all the affordable housing, that's subsidized housing and that kind of thing, almost 60% of it is within a half mile of where stations will be for Project Connect. That's the rapid transit system that'll be going before the voters in November. And I think it's just important to note that just about 60% of all the affordable housing will be within that half-mile walkshed of Project Connect stations. So that's good news, and hopefully everybody will consider that and go out and vote in November. The council next week is going to be considering a resolution that I'm bringing together with some of my colleagues, Councilmember Flanagan and Poole and Tovo. It's called the SAVES resolution. It's designed to really focus on some key industries that we're going to need as we recover from the virus that are in danger of disappearing and not surviving until that point. I'm talking about childcare infrastructure, which we're going to need so that people can go back to work and can go to school, get training and skills so that they can improve their lives and the lives of their families. So childcare. Also looking at music venues in our city right now. Music venues obviously not performing, not working right now. We need them to hang on. So on the backside of this, Austin can still remain the live music capital of the world, which we won't be if we lose our live music venues. Also looking at restaurants and bars and arts venues. So next week, the council is going to consider if there's a way to find additional money. It looks like we may be outperforming what the projections were for sales tax revenue. And I think that some of us are going to recommend that we take a look at taking some of that excess sales tax revenue and then applying it to starting up the Economic Development Corporation that so many council members have been pushing for such a long period of time. I think staff's finally bringing it back to us in 2 weeks. Maybe the first thing they should do is take some of that sales tax money as seed money and then leverage it. Make it go farther than it would if we were just making a straight city contribution, but using that Economic Development Corporation, maybe there's a way for us to multiply its effect and apply it to that childcare infrastructure or music venue infrastructure. But that'll be a conversation that we have here over the next week, going into next week's meeting, and then for the couple weeks left in September, because we really do need to bring relief. There is not enough resources that the city has to really help everybody in our city that desperately needs it right now. We need Congress to act. If you have a free moment, reach out to your member of Congress or to your United States Senator and tell them that we need them to act and get the HEROES Act moving forward. Next week, the council is also going to be considering some items that deal with the potential convention center expansion downtown. It's a way for us to make sure, again, that as we come out of this pandemic, we're doing it in a strong position for the city to have real economic development, to have convention center expansion that throws off money for cultural arts and for the music industry. That's how we fund a lot of the cultural arts in the city. But this one would also, because of working with the hotel industry, create a different fund, a TPID fund that would throw off dedicated money to help with homelessness in our city. But that seems to be moving forward, and the council is going to consider that next week. So an important week next week. Everybody enjoy the weekend. Again, if you're thinking about going to the University of Texas game, please be as safe as you can possibly be. I'm going to sign off tonight with just a moment of silence. Today marks the 6-month anniversary, or it could be Sunday marks the 6-month anniversary of the very first COVID case that we identified here in town. Amazing that everything that has happened since then has only happened in the last 6 months. But I want to take a moment of silence today because this is 9/11. And 19 years ago today was a day that changed our lives, our country, our world. It was a day when the first responders in New York ran to the building that was coming down. So many people lost their lives, so many first responders. That day made us really take a hard look at the dedication, the sacrifice, the selflessness of the people that are our first responders that suit up every day, not knowing whether that day is going to be one that called them to move in that direction. We saw that here in Austin ourselves with our police when they were charging the bomber's car just a few years ago. Again, in that kind of selfless public service that helps keep us safe in this city. So I'm going to conclude tonight with just a moment of silence, and we'll let that take us out. Let's remember those folks in that day and our first responders that are there for us every day. Good night, and you all take care.